Ever wonder what makes a hero? Is it the grand gestures, the flawless record? Or is it something deeper, something forged in the fires of a life lived on the fringes? Today, we read diving into one of the most compelling character arcs in storytelling, the tragic tale and ultimate redemption of Arthur Morgan. The year is 1899. The Wild West is dying, and with it, the age of the outlaw. Dutch van der Linde's gang, once a symbol of freedom and defiance, is now on the run. After a robbery in Blackwater goes horribly wrong, they're forced into the frozen mountains, hunted and desperate. At the heart of this crumbling family is Arthur Morgan, Dutch's right-hand man, our protagonist. To understand Arthur, you have to understand his past. Orphaned young, he found a new family in Dutch's gang. Dutch became his mentor, his father figure, teaching him a code of loyalty and a philosophy of living free from society's chains. Alongside him was John Marston, a brother in all but blood, but Arthur's life was also defined by loss. He lost his first love, Mary, and tragically, his own young son, Isaac. These heartbreaks hardened him, but also deepened his need for the belonging he found in the gang. He clung to Dutch's ideals, even as doubts began to creep in. His pain was intensified when John Marston, his brother, temporarily abandoned the gang, leaving a wound of betrayal that never fully healed. In a way, Arthur saw his own lost past in John, a reflection of what could have been. As Dutch's methods grew more erratic and his quest for revenge more desperate, the bonds within their chosen families started to fray. This is where Arthur's internal conflict truly begins. He starts to question the life of violence he's led for so long. We see it in his journal, in his quiet moments of reflection. He expresses his growing disgust with the brutality, especially when collecting debts from desperate people. Yet his sense of responsibility to the gang, to the only family he has left, forces him to compromise his own ethics, to push down his own moral compass. He often justifies his actions by talking about a cruel and ruthless world, a way of detaching himself from the suffering he causes. He knows much of what he does is wrong, but trapped by his history and his loyalty, he feels it's inevitable. Dutch always painted the gang as something more than mere criminals. They were idealists, robbing from the rich to live freely, a family bound by a shared ethical code. But as the story unfolds, that vision crumbles. What was once about justice and a twisted sense of altruism dissolves into impulsive, brutal violence. Arthur finds himself caught in this contradiction. The principles he built his life on now seem hollow, clashing with Dutch's increasingly dangerous actions. He watches as the gang manipulates the Grey and Braithwaite families, two powerful, feuding clans, orchestrating chaos for their own gain. The violence and manipulation are all part of a larger, reckless plan that puts everyone he cares about at greater risk. Amidst all this darkness, moments of kindness shine through, starkly contrasting with Arthur's life of crime. These encounters plant seeds of change. A pivotal moment comes when he confronts Edith Downs, the widow of a man he hounded for a small debt, a man who ultimately died from his illness. Her raw grief and her pointed words cut through Arthur's justifications. She reminds him that no matter the circumstances, he always had a choice. This idea of the power of choice begins to haunt him. His rekindled relationship with his lost love, Mary, also reflects this deep-seated desire for redemption, for a different future he thought was impossible. But as Arthur starts to question everything, Dutch descends further into paranoia and megalomania. The pursuit of one last big score becomes an obsession, leading to violent, reckless decisions that shatter the gang's morale. For Arthur, the ideals he once fought for are turning to dust before his eyes. Then, the ultimate blow. Arthur is diagnosed with tuberculosis, likely contracted from the very man he collected a debt from. This death sentence forces a profound re-evaluation of his life. He grapples with his identity, his legacy, and what his final days will mean. This is the turning point. His priorities shift from blind loyalty to the gang to a desperate need to do some good in the time he has left. He starts acting on his own, for the first time truly defying Dutch. His decision to help John Marston and his family escape becomes his new mission. In his final days, Arthur actively seeks redemption. The weight of his regrets pushes him to make amends. He revisits Mrs. Downs not as a collector, but as a man trying to right a wrong. Her words about choice come back to him, and he realizes that blaming a cruel world was just an excuse. He had always had a choice. We see him forgive debts, help those he once harmed, and reflect on his own humanity. In a powerful conversation with a nun, Arthur confesses his fear of death. She encourages him, telling him that even now, he can act with love and kindness. He begins to understand that redemption isn't about erasing the past, but about making conscious choices to do what's right in the present. Every moment is a new opportunity to be the best version of himself. The gang is now completely fractured. The tension between Arthur and the venomous Micah Bell, who has Dutch's ear, represents the final battle for the soul of the gang. Arthur agrees to one last heist with Dutch, not for the money, but in a final desperate hope to save who he can and protect the vulnerable, like John's family. The confrontation is inevitable. At the story's climax, Arthur stands against Dutch and Micah, exposing the lies and betrayal. He chooses to save John, giving his brother the second chance he never had. In protecting John's family, he honors the memory of his own lost son, Isaac. His final act is one of pure, selfless love. He stays behind, holding off the Pinkertons to ensure John can escape. In his last moments, Arthur Morgan, the outlaw, the killer, finds his peace. The final image of the deer, a symbol of his honorable path, watches over him as his story comes to a close. Arthur's journey reminds us that even in the darkest of lives, there is always a choice, and always a chance for redemption. Thanks for watching. If you found Arthur's story as powerful as we do, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the characters that define our favorite games. See you next time.